Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm happy, honored, excited, proud, and all of those feelings put together, presenting to you Alex Fernandes, a musician who is not only fixed with a certain genre of music, he's the one whom I call from jazz to jagaran and everything in between. He does justice to each of these genres that he presents and plays. He plays in bands, he plays solo, he plays piano, he plays keyboard in various formats and excels in each one of them. And that is what is a personal attraction of me to him. And today we are presenting to you his latest and his 8th composition, Dance of the Grasshopper, and a whole lot of detail around this composition. So Alex, how did you think of this title, Dance of the Grasshopper?
Well, I got the idea from various artists, but one of the famous was Chick Corea, and one of his songs is called the King Cockroach. So I thought, why not another insect, the grasshopper? So so I named the song "Dance of the Grasshopper," and since it is a funky and groovy song, so the insect always jumps around. So that was the idea. And secondly, I dedicated this song to all the great sax players I have known and worked with, like Arco Rodriguez, Braz Gonzalez, Savi Serrao, Joe Santana, and Rudy Cotton, to name a few.
While accompanying or while composing this song, what did you keep in mind besides the expression of the insect that you just mentioned, or the inspiration of the insect? What drove you to, or what actually took you through this whole composition?
So, well, actually, when I sit down to compose, like I have already had in mind the musicians who are going to do justice to this song.
Yes.
So that is very important. So it's like when you write a story, you have all the characters in mind, like in the movie.
Correct.
So that way I already finalized the musicians who are going to play the guitar, the bass, because everybody is good, but there is certain character which fits into that song or the part. So that's my process of in the making of a song.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Very interesting, because that would have been my next question. That what are the musicians that you got together to finally do the production?
So let me introduce you to the musicians also.
Yes.
So I had very good musicians, and I always like to bring in new talent.
Yes.
So it's not only the maestros.
Yes.
So everybody knows the maestros, but the young talent is very important to incorporate in the song.
True.
So people know them rather than the unheard of, like.
Right.
So of course my favorite was the drummer Joshua Grant. Yes. So he played the drums and he did a fantastic job on the song. And I think he's one of the best drummers in town. Right. And the second one is my son, of course.
Elton.
Yeah, Elton Fernandes. Fernandes, of course, I'm Fernandes. And he did a marvelous job in the song. So he played the saxophone, the alto saxophone.
Right.
The third one is a young bass player called Mahesh. So I just got him through some resources, and then he did a very, very good job on the bass. Right. I was looking out for a person who could slap.
Right.
So all the slappers were too busy.
That's right.
Yeah. So finally, I got Mahesh on the tracks.
That's true. I second you there because I've heard the track and I think I really enjoyed the bass.
Because I tried because the slapping part was very crucial in the song. It's not just playing bass. Of course, there were other great players, but the slapping, what was lifting up the song.
That was a highlight.
Yeah, the highlight for the bass player. No.
That's right.
Yeah. So slapping was my main concern.
And then you sort of had that sound in your head when you were composing.
Yeah. So you
wanted it out.
So there was no two ways about it that I will not use this person. I would still waited another month or so until I got a person who could do the slapping on the bass.
So which means you could have never hired Jaco Pestiris because he doesn't slap.
I had two Jacos prior to Mahesh, but for some reason they could not. They didn't have the time, or they were too busy.
Yeah.
So that is. If you want me to tell the names, I can tell you.
that's completely up to you. The whole idea is to bring out what artists like Alex Fernandes is doing in the background when he's not playing live or when he's not playing for an audience directly. This is very interesting, and I think it's a great pleasure, privilege, and all of those words put together for me to have this conversation with you to bring out and to explore what you've recently done, what you've done in the past, and I think also setting the ground for what's coming up in the future. No?
So I've had this young percussionist called Bobby Pathak, and he also did a very good job in the percussions. Another guitarist called Abraham Peters. So he did an incredible job by playing a fantastic solo. The solo is played entirely by him.
Right.
And I was really happy on the outcome.
What were the challenges that you faced? I mean, at the end, we hear a great track and things, but of course, you would have faced challenges in terms of what you thought and what was going through the whole process.
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
I think the top, the first point comes is the discipline among great artists, I must say. That's the biggest challenge. The time factor, when you work in a studio, the time clock starts ticking.
Right.
So every tick costs money.
Yeah.
So if you start a project on time, it has to finish on time.
Right.
So yes, the time factor was there, the usage of the studio. And secondly, the mindset of all the musicians should be the same. Because when I have something in my mind, I expect that same flow and the same, the connectivity should be
Right.
with the producer, the composer.
Right.
So that's very important, I must say.
What was the experience on stage? As in, during the time they were plugged in, they were ongoing with the recording artist. They were going live or playing live.
See, any musician who comes in the studio and who is playing for a song, so he has to keep in mind that he has to play what is needed,
Yes.
not what he has the skills
Correct.
of that particular instrument.
True.
So if you just do what is needed, the song will sound great. Then rather put your own inputs. So that is what, I will not say I faced, but that's the trend, nowadays of,
it's sort of-
it's like,
It comes to your mind as a
put more masala in.
yeah.
Put more masala which is not needed. Sometimes, just a pinch of salt is enough.
That's right.
And it's
For a great taste, yeah.
For a great taste.
Exactly.
So just that's why I've noticed in great players, you just play a very simple beat and the whole song.
Yes.
Lesser the better. Nobody at the end is fully satisfied because what was in the mind at the source, it sometimes becomes very difficult because it is not you. It is a number of people which are part of it. And the biggest thing is financial part. Sometimes you want to finish off the song, and then you try to compromise on certain aspects.
Correct.
So if you have to call drum again, you have to pay him again.
Correct.
Then you have to, the time is in. So
That's right.
financially the top line, I would say.
Yeah.
You tend to compromise, and then it's sort of, there is a little, you lose that 5%,
Right.
that in the end.
Right.
Having said that, I will not blame anybody for that.
Sure.
Because any new project takes time. It's a time consuming because it's a fresh, it's not piece heard.
Yeah. So I think, sorry, my question was more from just your personal perception because it's your tune, it's your composition, everything came from your mind. It's only from that point. It's certainly not how people, even I've heard the track, for example. I enjoy this and of course I can't think of flaws, I can't think of anything. It's like, it's going crazy till the end.
Yeah.
But this is more from your side, you as an individual, as a creator, as when you hear something, you want to be more, it's like a question rhetoric to yourself. It's not for the public or not for others. I mean, of course, this is part of an interview, but that's where the question was more directed to. That did you feel satisfied?
95% yes, 95%
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Not 100%.
Some percentage.
Let me be very honest, 95%.
Okay.
I got what I wanted, like.
Okay,
Yeah, I
great.
got what I
No,
wanted.
that's great. I think.
Yeah.
So a great thing, a great lesson probably, or a point from your side to the upcoming musicians, to youngsters, to people who have played in your track, for example.
I think they should be open to listening what the other person wants you to play in that particular song. That if you don't listen, the end product is not going to happen.
That's right.
If you listen,
Yeah.
then you'll be a great musician.
That's right.
Listening is very important, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not saying obeying the command of the person, but
Yeah.
listening, once you listen, then your mind grows bigger and bigger.
That's right.
If you don't listen,
Yeah.
it clogs off.
Yeah. It's listening more than.
And I think you should
more
leave
than
your
talking.
attitude at home and play there. Just enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
That's what brings out the complete musician
That's right.
from within you.
Having done all of these things, then now your song is ready. Who are you dedicating this to? Is there anyone you're dedicating this to, or is that something that you had in mind?
As I earlier said, I dedicate this song to all the great sax players I've known and worked with, like Sabi Serrao, Arco Rodriguez, Rudy Cotton, Braz Gonzalez, Joe Santana, to name a few. Of course, there are great sax players in the country too. But yes, this song is entirely dedicated to all the great sax players.
Great. And one of them is your son as well. So any connection there?
I love he sounds great and he's very serious. So I hope him all the best in the future. So it's just a platform. So I really enjoy working with him.
Yeah.
He's one of the few. He's one of the few favorite ones who I work with.
Great. So I think Elton is going to see this interview also, and then know it from the horse's mouth. Elton. That's great. No, I think this is an excellent life opportunity. I think when you're saying something like this, you're preparing a song and track and all these big artists that you name, and the one upcoming is your son. I think that's a great coincidence.
That makes me proud.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I was trying to head towards that only. And the time taken to complete this song, this particular track.
The song was composed in bits and pieces. So it took almost a year and a half.
Okay.
So the first part, the second part,
Okay.
sometimes just relaxing, suddenly some part will come.
Okay.
And then the final outcome, then I'll see what instruments fix. This is the first song, there is no piano sound in this song. You will notice I've used a choir, choir sound. So there's no piano at all in this song.
That's right.
I thought why not use a choir sound?
Right.
Because jazz, people with jazz relate to piano, saxophone.
That's right.
So I didn't want the piano at all in this song. So this is a choir.
Composers like you and others as well, they have done like one track or two tracks in one or two single days, and then you have something like this that's probably growing on you, and then you're sort of taking your time.
I take my time in composing a song. I don't rush. I already have more in line, but I may do a little part of this song and little part of that song, as and when it comes.
And I have personally seen you or been with you backstage over the last so many years. Not so much time in the last recent years, but in the beginning years when we started off. I've seen you playing different kind of genres of music, and also doing it, playing it at the level of and at an exponential level in the genre that you're playing, which is something really I have great respect for as musicians, because there are a lot of musicians in the world who are great at one particular genre that they do, and they're known for that world over or India-wide or whatever the case might be. But for you and a few others that I've had the privilege of meeting, are able to do justice in whichever form they pick and choose, whichever form they are required to deliver. Which is your closest form of music? That's closest to you, and not just what the audience demands. I'm not saying like a song, or could be something.
Jazz.
Exactly.
Jazz is my favorite, and
exactly. So if given a stage and given a freehold topic to Alex, and Alex, play what you like, and that's what it's going to be.
Jazz 24/7.
Fantastic. I'm very happy to hear that also, because the idea of jazz is somehow fading.
It is at the good old, the good old jazz.
Yes.
jazz has been, it's been twisted into like Bolly jazz
Yeah,
and
it's
punk jazz,
exactly,
and there's maybe you can have a, different region jazz,
yeah. So
may have a Goa jazz.
that's right, that's right,
Yeah,
that's right. Like,
have a, any state
Yeah.
jazz, like, maybe Punjabi jazz,
yeah, I see quite a few of these in different markets outside of India, for example. Even in East, I see a lot of brass sections still there, and senior musicians like yourself in the brass section is bringing in youngsters and is bringing in mentoring people to just come on stage, play a couple of sections and then leave, and then the other one comes in, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like getting them to play live. At the end of the day, I learned from all of you, playing live, playing what you like, playing live is what actually creates, keeps the
yeah.
musician life alive, and that is somehow, unfortunately or sadly, is not really
Not
a
there.
case in India. So Alex, what are your future plans in terms of compositions and keeping the thought of bringing in new music or bringing in the keeping up with the jazz influence? Is it anything in line with having like a big band setup? Traditionally, how we used to have music and people were listening live or playing live and creating something, because jazz is also like a feeling based or an expression based, especially when you're improvising, each of them improvising, if there's a quartet or a trio or even duo, for example. um, what do you have in mind, something like that?
Well, I have a couple of compositions in line. Two of them are jazz. One is a bit rockish. So I don't do only jazz compositions. So this one is my eighth composition. So the previous ones are not all jazz. There's some pop and different genres, like,
Relatively easy listening
easy listening, yes.
for the wider audience.
Find audience. It's not so. I don't want people to call me just a jazz composer or something. I've experiment done in different fields, like, So I tried my hands in different fields, and yes, I would definitely like to have a, big band composition. I've already had in mind. So the name is An Evening in New York. So the word New York is, of course, is jazz. So I'm already working on it. So I would like to have trombone, a double bass, piano, and that will be like a video,
Right.
full live.
Right.
So that's I have in mind to do.
Right. I think to inspire more people to learn a certain section of jazz that's getting forgotten. The brass section, I think, is very important.
Brass is very important.
Piano, guitars, and the bass, and the others are always there. Are
Yeah,
some
yeah.
takers. There are also some trainers, as you mentioned.
Very important.
But great to hear that you have this plan, and I think in that you probably can look up, bringing up the other your old partners in crime. Who have been doing similar kind of ideas and things like that.
I will.
Now it's time for a short break break in not just the conversation, but also to listen a glimpse of, for the audience who haven't heard your track yet.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Fernandes live for you with his new track, Dance of the Grasshopper. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
Now is the time to bring on board the man behind the mix, the one who has been putting all these musicians together and bringing out the output of what we are hearing as the name song from Alex. Lohit, welcome to our event, couch sitting, talking together, exploring things. So we want to understand more from you, more on what happened in the back of the scenes, during the mix, during the takes, retakes, editing, and coming up with the final product. Anything, whichever you found unique, whichever you found interesting, and whatever you want to share from your experiences. Good, bad, and the ugly. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm really thankful to Alex to, for trusting me to be part of this journey. And I was really thankful when these guys came to studio first and I heard the song for the first time. First of all, the title was really appealing for me. Uh, Dance of the Grasshopper. It's a story in itself. And when I heard the song for the first time, I was excited from that day. And then we got into the process of recording live musicians together. So that bit was also exciting because generally in studios you don't get to do that stuff anymore. It's all
That's
about
right.
multi-tracking
It's
and
correct.
melodies, dubbing, all of
Correct.
that happening.
Correct.
But he was very sure about that. We need to keep that live feel alive.
Right.
So that was the main priority. And me, along with my partner Abhishek, we went into the drum recording session. And while tracking drums, we were doing bass and demo track for saxophone, and he was playing keys. All of that was happening simultaneously
Mm-hmm.
in recording room as well as the control room.
Mm-hmm.
So that day was a lot of fun. Because we started, I was just checking the dates today, and it started almost an year ago, the recording process.
Right.
And it took us a year of getting into recording and then mixing and then changing things.
Any challenges that you faced?
While tracking, there were lots of days when we couldn't achieve, which was, for example, in bass guitar recording session, we assumed we'll be covering that in 2-3 hours.
Yeah, it took time.
Yeah.
It took time.
It took time.
Even the side drum.
Right, right.
I was not happy with the side drum.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
sound of the side drum.
I think very interesting. Alex, your experience is working with Lohit.
Uh, with Lohit, I think.
Again, the good, bad, and the ugly, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, not ugly.
I'll come back to that to him as well. I would like to hear the
good-
ugly side of
The good party.
knowing you guys for so many years. I would like to hear something from Lohit
Yeah,
as well.
I think the sound engineer should have patience. That is very important. Even if I tell him 10 times, you shouldn't be saying like, "Nee, ho gaya, acha sound kar raha hai." It's me to decide, not him to decide.
Correct.
Even though he's mixing,
Yeah.
the final, the bucks.
You're the God. You're the God. You're the creator. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I understand.
So, yeah, what I'm trying to say, like,
Completely.
if I'm not satisfied, it doesn't work out.
Absolutely.
So he was very patient. We had to, especially for the side drum, I think we wasted 2-3 months.
Yeah.
But I was not happy because when everything sounds nice on good speakers, but
Yeah.
everybody doesn't have good speakers at home.
Yeah.
Is on the iPod or
Yeah.
iPad or
That's
a
right.
laptop.
That's
So
right.
the drum was not, the song was great, but the side drum was not happening. So when you don't have the push in the song, it's like an engine. The drummer is the engine. The drummer. So if the engine is weak, the song will not happen.
Yeah.
So we had to go at his friend's house somewhere, and then we had to put a sample over it.
Yeah.
I find most of the engineers, I mean, nobody in particular, but the general, my suggestion to engineer, use less plugins. That's why I told him. So in the end, I mean, no offense to him, he's a great engineer, but something like,
Yeah.
So I think if engineers do take that point
Yeah.
when they're recording,
Yeah.
because I have recorded one song about 25 years ago, just on a small, and that sounds more powerful than the digital one,
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, available for you for your personal listening of this jazz funk number by Alex Fernandes.
Dance of the Grasshopper.